Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and today we're going to look at some potential breakouts for 2026, and who better to talk about that with than the man from RotoWire and the sleeper in the bus. It's Jason Collette, everybody, and the beard looks spectacular. I just want to say, I haven't seen it in a while. I don't know how long the beard has been in effect, but it looks fantastic. Speaking of bearded people we like, Joe Orrico also here on the program, everybody's favorite Canadian, and God knows, we got to keep those Canadians around, keep us all level-headed. They're the only level ones we have nowadays. And we're going to talk about some of the guys who could find 2026 to be the ultimate season where they take their game to the next level. Maybe there's some rookies on this list, some second-year players. You'll see in just a moment. Before we get into it, Jason Collette, real quick, give me your take on that Luis Robert trade. Certainly, it seems like all upside for the Mets there. They get a plus defender. Certainly a guy a couple years ago in 2023 had a great offensive season. He's entering his prime years. They give us Luis Angel Acuna in return to the White Sox. So that is the swap. Acuna, I assume, is going to play every day for the White Sox somewhere. What's your take from the fantasy fallout from that trade?
I mean, I love the upside deal for the Mets and for Robert Jr. You know, last year, I actually dropped him about 3 weeks before he got super hot for that 6 weeks, and then he cooled off again. But I took him high, and I was like, "Oh, this is tough to watch him succeed for somebody else with that." But you know what he's capable of. He's done it in stints. We just need to see him string it along and stay healthy. I'm really curious to see how the running game plays out, because that's been a huge part of his success. And I know that the Mets have had some changes in the coaching staff that was very helpful for them last year with running and getting those stolen bases from guys with single-digit sprint speed. So let's see where things go. But I woke up to that news this morning. I was like, yeah, that's a good deal. That's a deal the Mets could have really needed to make, and they traded from some depth and got what they needed.
Well, look, his worst offensive season sounds a lot like Tyrone Taylor anyway, so at least you're getting the upside of maybe there's more. And maybe it's just a change of scenery, Joe, because look at Andrew Vaughn leaves the White Sox last year for the Brewers, and look at how he did in that change of environment. Maybe that's all it takes for a guy like Robert to kind of rediscover himself. Because again, I think we take for granted, I was like, oh, this guy's in his 30s. No, he's not. He's 28 years old.
Feels like he's been around forever. He came up when he was 22, and we've seen such great flashes from him. I think I agree. Just getting out of Chicago, a situation that hasn't been great for the last couple of years, mentally reset. You go to a really good lineup where right now Fangraphs are projecting him to hit 8th. That's how deep the lineup is looking for your Mets right now, Joe. So I think it's all good for Robert. He doesn't need to be the guy. He doesn't need to be the star. He's like the 5th best player on this team now, so he can kind of just reset and try and get his career back on track.
Now, give me a pitcher or two, and I might sleep pretty well tonight. All right, let's get into the breakouts here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel here, Fantasy Pros MLB, on the field, on the YouTube channel, on the podcast feed as well. And, of course, don't forget our sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Before we get into all the players, this show is brought to you by Hard Rock Sportsbook. Hard Rock Bet is here for you, and if you haven't tried it yet, download it today. Bet your first $5, and if you win, you get $150 in bonus bets, plus your winnings only at Hard Rock Bet. So download the app today. All right, Jason Collette, you are the guest here, so give us your first breakout of 2026.
So I'm going with Hurston Waldrep from Atlanta. And what I really love about Waldrep, I'm always a sucker for guys with a few things. One, do you have a really, really good pitch? And he has an amazing one in his splitter. Then he also pitches backwards. Like last year, Atlanta was like, hey, you know, that pitch is really good. You should throw more of those. And throw less of that four-seam fastball, which just is not good. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And he had great results from it. And then he throws 5 different pitch types to righties and lefties. And I love that because it keeps guys off balance, and it doesn't allow the hitters to zone in. Like if you're a righty on righty, I'm only going to look at these 2 pitches because I know he doesn't throw the other ones. No, he'll throw 5 to righties, 5 to lefties. I love Waldrop's upside this year in Atlanta.
Yeah, and certainly everything that did go wrong for the Atlanta Braves last year, and certainly just some better health would go a long way for the Braves, and Waldrep looking like the back end of this rotation guy. Certainly from an ADP perspective too, a pretty good return on investment. Joe Orrico, let's talk about the first of many must-draft guys who you think are going to break out this season.
Yeah, I'm going with Gavin Williams, despite there being some ups and downs in his line last year. He did finish with a 3.06 ERA. He did outperform some of those expected metrics, but the results were pretty good in terms of run prevention. That 127 whip is something I think we can improve on. And if you look at what he did down the stretch, it does tell you a different tale than what we saw earlier in the year. If you look over his last 7 or 8 starts, we're seeing 7 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, 7 innings, 1 run, 3 strikeouts. 6 innings, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts. And he finished the year with a beautiful start against the Tigers. It was 2 earned runs, 12 strikeouts over 6 innings. He really did seem to improve as the year went on. I do like Cleveland from a pitching development standpoint as a whole. I think they know how to make the little adjustments with the guys. And now heading into year 4, albeit not full seasons in 23 and 24, but now his 4th season in the bigs, I think Gavin Williams is primed to take another step forward.
Yeah, it's just got to get that walk rate down a little bit, make him more efficient, right? You just walk a few less guys. You get a little deeper into games. You get a little deeper into games. Quality starts go up, wins go up, ratios go down. It's a very simple equation. Even if it go to 2024 level, it was 3.79 walks, right? Walk percentage. In the 4s, no good. It's low 3s, mid 3s. Can we get that? If we can, Gavin Williams certainly slated. He could be the ace of that rotation next year. I think that's well within grasp. Next guy on the list here, one of my favorites from last year. Oh, I'm such a big fan of this guy. He had an incredible year at AAA, but just couldn't get going. It seemed like bad luck. It seemed like bad streaks. It seemed like nothing went the way of Jac Caglianone. But Jason Collette, it's a new year. We got some new ballpark configurations too. How can all of that give us a breakout season for Jac Caglianone?
I mean, first, I'm glad that Joe and I don't play in too many leagues together, because this would be an ugly fight, especially in an auction, because I know he likes him even more than I do with this. With Caglianone, one of the things, like you said, amazing minor league numbers overall. But one of the things that stuck out to me was when he was still at University of Florida, amazing numbers there too. Then he got to the minor leagues and was 21 and was thrown in the Quad A and the Arizona Fall League. Had his first bit of struggle, if you will. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's just ridiculous. Then he goes into AA and AAA, jumps right back up, gets to the major leagues, and struggles. We've already seen him show that resiliency one time. I'm looking for it to happen again this year. Those park changes were just gravy for me, because this was somebody that I already liked going into it. The park changes, I'm not expecting a massive change, but just as a hitter, knowing, okay, the gaps now are a little closer, that's going to help. I would just encourage people not to overreact, because we saw what happened with the Jays when everybody's like, oh, they're changing this. This is going to be great. Really didn't help too many Jays hitters overall, like the early projections did. But I'd love Caglianone as a bounce back this year, because this time last year, Joe, as you said, a lot of people were chasing him and got disappointed in the result. And I love buying back on the dip with this. And I think it's a prime example.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I think when you watch him last year, there were moments too where he's hitting balls hard, right? And it was at people. He just couldn't find a hit. He just couldn't get. And I think a lot of that ended up just making him press mentally. And I think that sometimes you just can't get out of that box. So a little off season to reset, see how he does. Do you think he does break with the team though, right? You don't think he's going to go back down for any AAA season?
I feel he breaks with the team and just has a tremendous year this year.
All right. Next up here, a guy who did not have a tremendous year last year. Walk us through your next breakout and possibly another second rebound guy on this list as well.
Yeah, another kind of post-hype sleeper guy, and it's Dylan Cruz. Didn't do exactly what we were hoping for last year. He was very expensive in drafts, and he only ended up playing 85 games, but 10 homers and 17 steals in half of a season in your first cup of coffee is still encouraging to me. Yes, there were some red flags, the batting average being 208, the on-base rate being 280. Those are not good. But again, it's his first time seeing Major League pitching. He still had a 10% barrel rate. He greatly improved on his ground ball rate, getting it down to 50%, which is still very high, but it was at 57% in 2024. So he did seem to improve as a hitter as the year went on. I've seen a lot of projections that tend to really like him this year, and that power speed mix really does do a lot for you from a fantasy point of view. If you look at the Fangraphs depth chart projections, 20 homers, 25 steals, and a 243 batting average. And considering he's not really that expensive in early drafts this season, I mean, we're getting past the point where it's early drafts. They're just drafts at this point. But Dylan Cruz's ADP is generally around 170. So he feels like a really well-priced buyback candidate this year on an improving lineup as well in Washington.
Yeah, less swing and miss, more contact will go a very long way for Mr. Cruz. All right, we are 4 players deep into the 10 that we're going to talk about today. And don't forget, if you're trying to figure out where to draft these guys, as Orrico was just talking about, use Draft Wizard. MLB Draft Wizard of Fantasy Pros gives you the edge. You can sync your leagues for free in just seconds. You can run realistic mock drafts using your exact settings, and our tools are going to show you who you should take, the odds your favorite player is going to make it to the next round. All that is right in there for you. And if you're in a pinch, just ask Coach for real-time advice. If you're looking for a player, I need some more upside, or how can I get up my saves total here in this next pick. It can help you get all that stuff. So if you haven't seen Coach already, you should check out Coach, check out Draft Wizard right now. So make sure you go to fantasypros.com/MLB Draft Wizard or just download the app wherever you get your apps from. Next up here, back to Jason Collette. Now this guy, one of my favorite pickups at the end of last year, he helped me out in a couple of big spots there in September, but all of a sudden the Boston Red Sox rotation is a little crowded. So Jason, walk me through Connelly Early's 2026 potential.
Yeah, that's the thing. The traffic is definitely part of the conversation here. But this, to me, is a situation where I believe the talent wins out. So you look at the traffic in that rotation. You've got Garrett Crochet and Sonny Gray and Brian Bayo. They now signed Ranger Suarez. They have Patrick Sandoval as a holdover from last year. They signed to a 2-year deal, knowing he was going to miss year one. You got Johan Oviedo. You have Kyle Harrison. You have Peyton Tolley sitting around. You have all these guys. But to me, Early was the one who jumped out just watching the video, watching his pitchability last year, which is fantastic. You go back and look at a guy who had a 24% strikeout minus walk percentage across 3 levels last year. And again, this when you sit down and watch the video of what he was doing in his major league starts last year, you can't help but be impressed. And to me, I want to take advantage of his current market price because this is going to be skills are going to win out here, and he should be at the back end of that rotation. I'm not saying he's going to jump the 3 bigger names in Gray, Crochet, and Suarez, but I don't see any reason why Early cannot be the number 4 in that rotation.
I don't either. I like Harrison too. I'm a big Harrison guy. I thought that was a great acquisition when they made that Devers trade. And I don't know. I'm just going to kind of wait this one out, I feel like, because Early is another one too. I really like him. I like Harrison. Look, it's good for the Red Sox because you're going to need 10 starting pitchers nowadays anyway, just to get through the major league season. And and to their credit, they've built this group, right? Yeah.
The other piece of this is they can also take 2 of these guys and go trade for like Alec Bohm. If you look at Philadelphia with the whole fallout of the Bichette situation, there is a move to be made here. Boston has got more pitching depth than anybody. They still need to address the infield. That's a trade like on paper. I'd be like, hey, let's do this. Let's make this happen.
Pretty crappy though, isn't it? It's like, hey, we signed away your guy. Now you want to make a trade with us? Take one of our pitchers. I don't know. Might be some sour grapes at the GM office in Philadelphia on that one. All right, Orrico. Let's talk about another guy too who had big expectations last year, fell short. Big organization, the New York Yankees, Jasson Dominguez. So another guy too that's missed some time in development because of injuries here and there. And then last year didn't live up to the hype. But certainly the Yankees must believe in him because they certainly have had a very boring offseason where they haven't really been adding a lot of pieces. So it feels like they're committed to him, committed to Volpe, and committed to the youth. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but why do you think it might be for the Yankees when it comes to Dominguez?
Yeah, there was definitely a world, at least in my mind, where the Yankees sign Kyle Tucker, they bring back Cody Bellinger, and they really tell us what they think of Jasson Dominguez. And they kind of have told us a little bit just based on how they've played him over the years. But I think we can all agree that he's gotten a little bit of a raw deal, just considering the talent level that he hasn't really been able to play as much as he maybe should have. I know he struggles against lefties. He struggles in the field sometimes. But the talent level, I think, is still immense, especially against right-handed pitching. He's got a 116 WRC plus last season. If they play him, 5 times a week, 6 times a week, mostly getting in against righties, I think he can be a really successful player. He is going to get a chance to play, I think, every day. Maybe they bring back Bellinger. Maybe that complicates things. It doesn't look like it at this point, although who knows? It's hard to predict by the time this airs. Maybe they have brought back Bellinger. But as of today, it looks like Jasson Dominguez is going to have an everyday job in left field. I think that, if you look at how hard he hits the ball for his career, it's a 49% hard hit rate, 9% barrel rate. I think there's still a lot of potential, and people have kind of forgotten about him. They've kind of given up on him a little bit at this point. We're still talking about a guy who's 22 years old in a very good lineup, and his ADP is around pick 200 right now. So I think we can get a 15-25 type of season out of him, even if he only plays 120 or so games like he did last year.
All right, another 22-year-old on the list of you, Jason Collette. Let's talk about Sal Stewart of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, and he just turned 22 this offseason. So all those great numbers that you saw from Sal Stewart last year within the Cincinnati organization was just a 21-year-old. And just impressive all the way down as he's made his way through the organization. High contact rates, good walk rates, does not get himself in trouble. This offseason, he's already going to come in the best shape of his life, his young life. He's just turned 22, but he's already worked and added 12 pounds, or dropped 12 pounds rather, or maybe converted some of that soft to more tough tissue.
I'm gonna let you keep going here because I want to see, because I think eventually you're gonna say something you're really gonna regret, and I just want to hear what that is.
I mean,
that's what friends do. Friends let friends work themselves into circles when they're trying to. Hey, no matter what, you can always remember this, Collette. Welsh isn't here, and he is the worst when it comes to analogies and metaphors.
Yes.
He mixes them all the time. So no matter how bad it is for you, it's never as bad as a Welshism. So just
I could feel that coming through. I was like, this is not going the direction I want to go to. But here the thing is, but direction wise, the Reds did us all a solid. Got rid of Gavin Lux, sent him to Tampa Bay, and freed, because that was literally the biggest roadblock in Stewart's way. The ADP a few weeks ago was fantastic. He could jump in it. Now it's going up. And it's going up and it's going up, because that was the big question with Sal Stewart. Wasn't the skills. Now he's got a full, wide open opportunity to take advantage of it. We all know that Great American Ballpark plays well. I'm expecting Stewart to have a big year, even as a rookie. I know there's a lot of risk taken there, but the skills, he's got such a high floor for me, and somebody that I want to have on multiple rosters. And I started early in the offseason in November. I picked him up in a dynasty league as soon as I saw him take his first at bat. I was like, yep, we're good. So I have him in a dynasty league as soon as I had first pick, because I had the worst team last year. But oh well, I have Sal Stewart.
Happens to the best of us. Sometimes that's a blessing, right? So Stewart, you think he is going to be like the everyday DH? Or, I mean, you look at last year's numbers too. In double and triple A combined, this was a guy that had 20 homers, 17 steals. So he's got power, he's got speed, a 309 batting average, a 383 OBP, a 907 OPS. Is he a DH, do you think, in 2026? And if so, how does that change around a little bit for him too? Because sometimes that transition is a little tough, especially for younger players.
Yeah, I feel it's going to be a rotation piece. Like, he can get some time at first base. Let Spencer Steer DH. I don't think it's a full-time role for anybody. It's just, hey, this is a really tough matchup for Brian Hayes. Let's get Stewart in there. So Stewart's going to have some of that flexibility coming into the season. He only has that first base eligibility, but during the season, I feel he'll be at both corners. But that's going to be a rotational process. You're seeing more and more teams do that, especially teams that ball on a budget, if you will, like the Reds do. It's like they don't have a full-time DH. They're using that as a half day off type of thing.
Spoiler alert, every matchup is a problem for Brian Hayes. Just want to throw that out there. All right, let's get to the next guy on Joe Orrico's list here. Joe, who's coming in at number 4 here for you on your list of 5 breakouts?
Yeah, I'm going with Carter Jensen, the young catcher in Kansas City. He debuted with some incredible numbers last year. He played 20 games, hit 3 homers, hit 300 with a 391 on base rate, and barreled the ball up 20% of the time. Really incredible numbers. Now, can you expect a 20% barrel rate? No, but he had a 58% hard hit rate in AAA and carried that over into the big league. So we know that he hits the crap out of the ball. He provides speed from behind the dish while hitting for a good average. And I think as Sal Perez continues to age, he is at this point 36. I think he's about to be 36 years old. They will probably DH him more, give him more days off, put him at first base a little bit. He caught 92 times last year, but that does leave a lot of opportunities where he's not behind the plate. And I think Carter Jensen is going to pick up a lot of that slack. With the numbers that he's put up throughout the minors and in his debut, I think that we can be looking at like a C1, a top 12, top 15 catcher, depending on what your league size is. If you're in a one catcher format, I'd be fine to wait until all the way to the end of the draft to take Carter Jensen in the last round.
All right, just 2 names left for each of the guys in the top 10 breakouts for 2026. Quick reminder too, while you're running all those mock drafts for yourself, make sure you also use the cheat sheet creator too. Put some of these names on there. You can also use our expert rankings, or you can take different experts. You want to take the Joe Orrico, the Welsh, combine them. You want to take me and Jason Collette on there, combine them. However you want to do that, you can. You can organize your players into tiers, personalize the notes, and make sure that the process when you draft is easy, it's simple, and all the guys you really want to get on your rosters are at your fingertips. You can use the consensus rankings, or I said, just combine a bunch of different experts that you really believe in and take your teams to the next level this year. Go to fantasypros.com/MLB Draft Wizard, or again, just check out the cheat sheet creator on the Fantasy Pros app. All right, last guy for you here. Bring it home, Jason Collette. Who's the last guy on your breakout list for 2026?
So I'm going deeper here, and I'm going with Justin Sterner with the Athletics. And, somebody has to save these games. And we look at it, they traded away Mason Miller. And so the situation is wide open. And we saw a few guys in and out of that mixture, but somebody has to get saves. We know saves, there's so much turnover during the season for fantasy managers. And when I look at that bullpen, like who's got the best stuff, Justin Sterner to me has the best stuff. He's got the fastball. He's got the slider cutter combination. and he uses that cutter as his off-speed pitch because he just doesn't have a changeup. I hadn't even tried throwing one. So that'll be something to watch in camp. Does he try to go that direction? But I have been very impressed with what I saw from Sterner last year, especially in the second half, was holding hitters to a 185 average in the second half when he really started surging and had a 25% strikeout minus walk percentage. And that to me is such a great indicator. It's my go-to stat if I'm trying to figure out who's got the best in the bullpen. And Sterner's numbers just jump off the page there. And so that's the guy that I'm looking at in very late. If I'm looking for a third closer or bench closer option and he's still out there, I'm jumping on him.
You don't have to sell me. He's going on every one of my teams now because I like cheap closers. That's what I live by. I live by that sword. I die by that sword. It works for me. Joe Orrico has one more pick for everybody, and I'm going to spoil it for everyone. It's a shocking twist. It's a Blue Jay. Go ahead. Let's talk about Joe Orrico.
It is a Toronto Blue Jay. It is Kazuma Okamoto, and I didn't think he would even really qualify for a breakout type of list. I figured that the price would have jumped up so much, but even in most recent drafts since he signed, you're still seeing picks well outside of the top 200. Occasionally even outside of the top 300, and I don't know why people are not more excited about him. He's essentially the Bo Bichette replacement for Toronto. By the way, Joe, take good care of Bo Bichette out there.
I planned, well, at least for a year. I'm sure that opt-out's coming hard after the labor issues of 2027 looming, but 1 year, just 1 year at a time. That's how I take life, 1 year at a time.
I think the Blue Jays front office has been kind of vindicated. There's some smart people there for sure, and if they're willing to replace Bichette with Okamoto, which is essentially what they did, I think we should take note. What he's done in his career every year, he's a 30-plus home run guy. He's hit 41. Last season, he played just 69 games, but he had a 210 WRC plus, 327 batting average. And in particular, Okamoto destroys left-handed pitching. And when you go through the American League East, it is packed with left-handed pitching. The Yankees have Fried. They have Weathers. They're going to have Rodon coming back. Baltimore just has Rogers. Boston has 4 lefties. They have Crochet, they have Suarez, they have Early, and they have Tolley. And then Tampa's also got McClanahan. They have Ian Seymour waiting in the wings. They have Steven Matz. There are so many left-handed pitchers in the American League East. I think that Okamoto is going to be able to feast there. And even if he's facing righties, he has proven for the last almost decade that he is a solid hitter who can hit for average. He can hit for power. He doesn't strike out. Really good plate discipline metrics. So there's nothing not to like here, specifically the price. When you're getting a guy around pick 250, and even if you want to say, okay, he's jumped up, take him 220, 230 at third base is horrible. And getting a guy who is going to be at least third base eligible, who could pick up another position. Toronto could opt to give Vladdy some days off. They could put him in the corner outfield. There is nothing but upside here. You could have a multi-eligible 30 home run hitter at a weak position who you're getting outside of the top 200 picks.
Some excellent names on the list here from both these gentlemen. And of course, we love to hear from you. Drop your comments below. Who is your breakout of 2026? I love to see it in the YouTube comments there. Jason, Collette, we appreciate you sitting down with us for a little while, throwing out some names on your lunch break just for us, carving out some time. Tell everybody what's going on the podcast as well, because you and Joe on the same show, but I don't think at the same time, right? Like,
we rarely intersect because of the recording times that Justin and Paul and Joe do not align with my availability during the work week. But so I'm on Sundays, and every now and then Joe will come and join us on Sundays, but Justin, Mason, and I record on Sundays. For that. And we are, last week we had, there you go.
Oh, that's a terrifying sticker for those who are just listening. Joe Orrico, is that a Justin Mason sticker you just showed the camera?
Yeah.
Wow.
They came with some RotoWare shirts a while back, and there it is.
Yes. I'm simultaneously terrified and I want one. I don't know how to feel
It's
about
funny. My daughter came out to First Pitch Arizona this year and she got to meet Justin in person. She goes, oh, that's why the shirts are like they are. Like
that's the famous guy from this shirt. I got to make it out there. I think next year will be the year. The problem is I'm always into like the thick of football season.
Yeah.
And typically I try to take that week off because it's always the same week that my kids are off from school for their like winter break. Not winter, but it's like they have like a election day and then teacher convention week. So I always make sure we go out and do something. But I don't know. I think this year I might have to go hang out with the boys, take some BP.
It's my favorite weekend of the year. I would also be so that's on the podcast. And then at RotoWire, if you like these 5 names that I included here, I actually do 60 bold predictions over at RotoWire over 6 installments. And I am the AL Central goes up today. So that will be 4 of 6. So I do a hitter and a pitcher from every single team. Spoiler alert, the 5 guys I talked about today are part of that system. So you got a preview. And if you liked what you heard there, you want to read it in length, I have that piece at RotoWire. If you're not a subscriber, you can at least use the YouTube 15 for a 15% discount if you sign up for just baseball.
There it is. Jason Collette, first-class dude, first-class analyst. Happy to have you here on the show today. Also, go to Amazon, get the Fantasy Baseball Black Book 2026. Joe Orrico, myself, major contributors to that thing. With all these tools, there's no excuse. You should win every single league. So go do it today. Again, it's on Amazon right now. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Jason Collette and Joe Orrico, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.